Hi, I'm Kubeir. Nice to see you guys. Welcome to my channel. Today's subject of this video is Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program, AINP. I know a lot of you are out there are excited about this one because guess what? Notifications of interest, letter of interest from Alberta have been raining, pouring all over the place, and there is a lot of excitement. There is a lot of curiosity as to what's happening with Alberta. How come suddenly Alberta, the giant, has woken up and is sending out notifications to everybody? Let's find out more. Stay tuned. So, Alberta, of all the provinces, suddenly started sending out notifications of interest. Okay, so we all know that Ontario was the one that everybody expected would be sending out notifications of interest to the HCP, which is Human Capital Priority Stream. Obviously, Ontario has been acting a bit strange. And so basically people are losing hope, people are losing, they're beginning to get very anxious as to what other options are available. If your NOC is not in demand, if your CRS is just not going up, if you're not able to get that IELTS score to kick that CRS up, how many options do you have, right? Count Alberta in one of those options. So let's talk about AINP Express Entry Stream criteria. This video is only going to talk about the express entry stream. So the criteria for AINP express entry is that you must have an express entry profile. Goes without saying. And to have an express entry profile, you must score 67 points under the minimum eligibility criteria. They want you to have expressed an intent to reside in Alberta. So when you create your express entry profile, just check all provinces when you are checking the province of interest. You don't need to specifically check Alberta. That way you keep your options open, right? So just check all provinces, and that includes Alberta. So that's what Alberta wants, that you have to have expressed intent to reside in Alberta. That you should have work experience in one of the occupations that would help Alberta in their social economic development. It's a very vague criteria because it leaves everything open, but obviously Alberta must be having their own labor market priorities, labor market requirements, and that's how they decide this NOC, but they have left it open. There is no specific in-demand list for Alberta, so please do not fall into that trap where some agents or some consultants out there are telling you that there is a specific in-demand list. There is no in-demand list for Alberta. You should have CRS of over 300. This is the basic criteria for them to pick your profile. In addition to that, they have stated that if you have any connection to Alberta, so basically if you have any work experience, past work experience, having studied in Alberta, if you have any relatives in Alberta, any siblings in Alberta, so that could be a factor for preference for them to pick your profile. If you are an international student, you are registered with one of the postgraduate institutes in Canada, then that could also be a reason for their preference to pick your profile. And this was what we assumed would be the criteria, in the sense like we always thought that Alberta will pick only those profiles which has some connection to Alberta, and that's what they basically did in most of 2018. Ever since they announced that they are going to link express entry into their PNP program. But in the month of March, great things started happening. I think 4th of March, and then the 12th of March, and then the 19th of March, and then sometime early this month, people started getting notifications of interest from Alberta in their CIC account, and most of these people had no connection to Alberta. They have no job offer from Alberta. They have no relatives in Alberta. They are not international students in Canada. So what was the connection? And then after having followed a trend of a lot of these people who have exchanged their messages, who have shared their stories, we figured out that there were certain NOCs which were common. 125, 1221, 1241, 301, 8232. These are some of the NOCs, or these are some of the occupation codes which we came to know were common among all these people who received their notifications of interest from Alberta. This is not to say that Alberta will continue to send notifications of interest to these NOCs, but for the time being, these are the NOCs that have been receiving notifications of interest. Another thing common was that all these people who did receive notifications of interest, their CRS was 400 plus. And when we did try to find out, there was a small update on the Alberta website where they announced when they have made any draws or they have issued notifications. So they did say that they have been issuing notifications to CRS of 400 plus, but very soon that update was removed. I'm not sure why they did that, but I guess they will put a bigger, better post or a bigger, better update very soon. So this is basically what happened as far as notifications of interest was concerned. So if you are one of them who received a notification of interest, congratulations, this is a great one. If your score is less than 442, 443 as of today, take it. I mean, don't even think twice. And the reason why I'm saying 442, 443 is because the current CRS trends, the current express entry draws are not very encouraging. The last draw was at 451. We do not know how soon the scores are going to tumble further. The number of people in the express entry pool are growing by the day. I mean, the last we checked was 100,000, and the next time we checked was 102,000. So the number of people in the pool are growing. So if your scores are anywhere 442, 443 kind of scores, even 444 for that matter, if you get a notification of interest from Alberta, take it. The reason why I'm saying it is a couple of things, and I will explain to you why. Alberta is pretty fast in their nomination process. On an average, they take anywhere between 30 to 90 days. So you'll get your nomination within 30 to 90 days, provided you have given them all your required documents. They are free of cost. So basically, you don't have to pay any additional fee to apply for Alberta nomination. Unlike Ontario, Ontario has a fee of almost 1,500 Canadian dollars. Alberta is no fee. It's free to sort of apply to Alberta. So if you have a notification of interest, go ahead and apply. Don't think too much about it, because even if you're sitting at 444, you might have to wait for a few draws before your score gets drawn. So if you have an Alberta notification, take it and get on with it. Don't wait. So if you are one of those who have received the notifications of interest, again, I congratulate you. So let's talk about what happens after you get your letter of interest from Alberta. You get the notifications in your email saying there is an update in your CIC account. You log into your CIC account, you see this message from Alberta, and you get your goosebumps and you get all excited. Great. The next thing you need to do is you need to send an email to Alberta Express Entry at gov.ab.ca. I have mentioned the email address in the description box below. You need to send these guys an email, and in the email you will mention that you have received a letter of interest from Alberta. You will mention your express entry profile number. You will mention your candidate number. Mind you, when you have an express entry profile, you do not have a UCI number, you have a candidate number, and it starts with CAN. So mention your candidate number, mention your express entry profile number. If possible, attach a screenshot of your letter of interest that you have received, and let Alberta know that you have no other pending applications with Alberta, that you haven't applied to Alberta before, and that you are a federal skilled worker and you're applying under federal skilled worker under express entry. Once you have expressed your interest to pursue this nomination application with Alberta, within 24 to 48 hours, if it's a working week or working day, you will probably get it within 24 hours. If you are sending it to them during the weekend, so probably by Monday or Tuesday, you should receive a reply back from them, and in the reply you will get a detailed email which will tell you what you need to do. The thing with Alberta nomination application is that it's a paper application. It's not an online process. So basically they will send you a checklist, okay, and they will send you an AINP 012 application form. They will also send you a list of other immigration forms that you need to download and complete. So just check those immigration form numbers that are applicable to you and your dependent. Just go to the CIC website and you will be able to download these application forms. Just make sure you're downloading the current one, because these forms keep getting updated. So download these application forms, complete these forms, complete the AINP 12012 form, check the checklist. The checklist has in detailed, they've mentioned everything that they need you to provide.
So in the email from Alberta, this is the checklist you will receive. It basically is quite clear and quite straightforward. It tells you what are the forms and documents that are required by all candidates. It basically means all the number of people that are included in your application. So that will mean your spouse or primary applicant and dependents. You will need to complete the application form, which is AINP 012. And once you have printed and completed the form, you will need to sign it in blue ink. You will need to send a copy of the letter of interest that you have received from Alberta. You need to send a copy of valid passports, work permits if you have them. This is another area which you need to be very careful with. They have listed the different forms that you need to complete. These forms are available on the CIC website, and you must make sure that you download the most recent and updated ones. The link has been mentioned over here as well, and then there is also an IRCC guide for the for these application. Similarly, you need to attach your IELTS reports or French language reports. You need to attach your ECA. Now, important thing is it says original here for ECA. I know a lot of people do not get their original copy for ECA, but since it's mentioned original, I would suggest that you provide them the original report. If you don't have it, you can quickly ask WES or any other body that you have used to get your ECA from to send you a copy, probably through courier if it has to be sent. In addition, you will need to upload, or rather provide, your certificates, diplomas, degrees. This is the reference letter requirement, which you will need to obviously provide on your company letterhead. And once it's all done, you will need to mail your documents to this address in Alberta. This is basically what the checklist is all about. And now let's take a look at how AINP 012 application form looks like. So when you open this form in Adobe Reader, this is how it will look like. You will have this window which will tell you that this is an electronic form and it must be completed with all details correctly. And once you have completed the form, and you can click on the print final button, and it will create a barcode. So this will be the opening window. Once you click on this, it will basically give you another notification that when submitting your AINP form, make sure you get your identification number on all pages, which will also include the barcode page. Again, another notification that you must be careful about. Well, this is how the form looks like. It's pretty simple, straightforward. You will choose you're applying as a federal skilled worker or Canadian experience class. If you're eligible under CEC, you will mention your profile number, your job seeker validation code, which you will get in your Express Entry profile. All other standard basic questions. Any areas that you do not understand or do not have a clarity, I think they have mentioned these question marks. If you click on these, they basically tell you what you can and cannot do in that particular field. Again, as I said, it's a pretty standard, simple form, nothing complicated here. Okay, now this is one thing that I can explain to you about. You see, this is an area for current employment. Now, there are a lot of people who currently are not working, or who are unemployed, or who were earlier working and they have been eligible under Express Entry because of their past work experience. Because as we know that Express Entry needs your work experience to be within the last 10 years at any point of time. So if currently you are not working and you are not employed, you will still need to complete this area. So what are you going to do here? Instead, what you can do is, you obviously don't have a job offer, so you're going to click no here, and you will mention your total years of work experience that you have completely. It doesn't matter whether it's in 10 years or earlier than that. For your current job title, you can mention as unemployed, or you can mention as a homemaker, if you are at home, or a housewife. And again, mention dates. You can mention your primary code as your knock code. I will say 1241 or 1111 or 1311 is the one which is basically, let me just say, okay, let's say 1212. You can mention salary as 0 or 100 or whatever you want to call it. For all other required fields, you can mention as not applicable. Okay, and then in the end, you just need to provide a letter of explanation and let them know that this current employment field you had to complete because the form would not let you proceed if you were not going to complete this form, and that you actually are not working at this moment of time, but you have previous work experience. So your previous work experience or earlier work experience goes under the section F, under previous employment. This is where you will mention your previous work experience. If you click on add work history, it will open up a similar field as we saw before, and you can mention your valid work details or employment details in this particular field. Make sure you mention your salary, make sure you mention all the details and the address of your company. And if you have more than one period of work experience, then you can keep adding here, and they will open subsequent fields for you to mention your work history. Going further, you can then enter your family information, whether you're married or not, spouse is accompanying or not, and so on and so forth. If you have any relatives in Canada, if you have previously resided in Alberta, you will say yes to the document checklist here, and basically all simple, straightforward questions here. This is just your declaration and authorization to collect and dispose or disclose personal information. So yes, once you complete the entire form, you will just go right up, and on the top, if you click on print final, this will then generate a printed copy or a PDF copy which you can print later. It will have all the barcodes, and it will have your registration number mentioned at the bottom of each page. It will come here, your registration ID. It will be printed at this point on each of the pages. So yeah, just complete it carefully. Make sure you have all the details mentioned correctly. If there is any error you make, and if you try to print, it will not let you print, and it will prompt you to complete those details correctly. So that's how you will complete your Alberta Express Entry AINP 012 form.
And once you have completed your set of documents, prepare them in the same order that they require you to do it. Please make sure you don't staple anything. Please make sure you don't, add any binders or anything of that sort. Arrange them in the same order that they are asking you as far as the checklist is concerned. Put that in an envelope, and within 30 days from the date you received that email, make sure, don't even think 30 days, I would say do it within 20 to 25 days. Send it to Alberta. You can send it by postal mail, by registered mail, by courier. I would recommend courier because you do not want it to get delayed or get lost, and at least you can track it easily if you're couriering it. In the sense like that the document, the package should be postmarked 30 days, or rather within 30 days from the date they have sent you the confirmation. So this is the basic requirement, what you need to do. I hope this is clear. More or less, the application forms are quite simple, quite straightforward. When you are completing your AINP 012 form, please make sure you do not make any errors. It's an automatic form, it's an automated form. Once you have completed the form, if you click on print final, it will generate a PDF file, and it will have certain barcodes, and it will have a registration ID number at the bottom, and that ID number will be same on all pages. Please make sure you keep all the pages in an order, and they all have an ID printed on them, the same ID which is on all the pages. And as I said, just arrange them in the order that you're required to, and off it goes. More or less, the documents are pretty simple and straightforward. They don't really want you to do anything complicated. They haven't asked for any specific proof of fund documents, so you don't need to provide. They haven't asked, you don't need to provide any PCC or medicals either. That will happen later on once you get the nomination. They do have a very specific and a strange requirement in the reference letters, it's basically gone beyond me. I couldn't understand the logic, but let me explain it to you anyways. So they want your reference letter, obviously, as most of the provinces do, in your on your company letterhead signed by your manager, should include your work period, your designation, your job roles and responsibilities, and they should match with the NOC that you're claiming points for. They basically want you to list all your work experiences. They want you to list all your previous employment, etc., etc. But in addition to that, they also want the reference letter to mention the requirement of education for this particular job that you're doing. They also want that letter to mention the skills and knowledge required for you to perform this job. These are additional points, but they have specifically stated that these must be included. I honestly can't understand the logic behind it as to why would they need it, but they need it. So please make sure you add these points. So please go strictly as per their checklist, go strictly as per what they need, and make sure your reference letter includes these points. That's just about it. So once your application is gone, you will receive an application or a file number, and then hopefully after a few days you should get a call from Alberta. Usually it's a very short interview call. They will check if your intention is to reside in Alberta. They will ask you a few questions about your work experience, about your employer, etc., etc. Once they're happy, the next day or maybe after a few days you will get your nomination. Once you get your nomination, 600 points are added to your CRS score, and that basically means you get your ITA in the next draw. Excellent, and congratulations. And there's another thing which is extremely important in this whole process. One of the requirements that Alberta has is that your express entry profile should not be expiring within the next 3 months. It's extremely important. I think one of the reasons why they are specifying this is because their nomination process the application for nomination could take about 3 months. And if your express entry profile expires, then your letter of interest which you have received from Alberta will become invalid, and they will not be able to pursue your application. On certain correspondence that we have had with Alberta on behalf of one of our clients, they have very specifically mentioned that not to make any changes in your profile after you have received your letter of interest. Your CRS should definitely not change. You should not change any circumstances or any conditions in your application which would basically make them question your process. So please do not make any changes, or make your changes as many as you want before you have your letter of interest from Alberta. Make your profile absolutely accurate so that you don't have to make any changes later on. If your profile is expiring within the next 3 months and you do not expect a direct ITA from express entry draws, then I would suggest you recreate your profile so that at least you're giving yourself a chance to get a notification of interest from Alberta. Because of the NOCs that I have announced, those people can look forward to a letter of interest from Alberta if your CRS is 400 plus. For others, you never know, they could be choosing and picking more NOCs in the coming future. We are only in the month of April. I'm forever hopeful and always hoping that something good comes out of all these programs out there. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, what are you waiting for? If you like the video, give a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends. Please share it with other aspirants who you think this video could help, because there are a lot of people out there who have been receiving a letter of interest and they're not really sure how to go about it. So please share it with them. If you haven't joined our Facebook groups, please do so. You can join discussions with 50,000 of our members who are always talking about different subjects related to Canadian immigration. And that's it from my side for today. I'll see you again soon. Bye.